At 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, May 9th, 2026, the USGS Hawaiian Volcano Observatory issued a routine daily update. Most people read the headline, "Eruption paused, next episode coming," and moved on. Nobody read the third sentence of the monitoring summary, the one that, if you have been following this eruption for the past 6 months, should have made you set down whatever you were holding. Consistent glow continued from the south vent over the past day. The north vent produced intermittent glow. Newsweek consistent south vent. Intermittent north vent. Flip back to the episode 46 summary from May 5th. The eruption that produced a 650-foot fountain, a 20,000-foot ash plume, fist-sized Tephra on Highway 11, and Pele's hair in Mountain View. In that episode, the north vent did all the work. The north vent produced the entire 9 hours of main fountaining. The south vent produced one brief dome fountain and then 9 hours of gas jetting and flames, without ever sustaining the kind of intense lava output that produces the record-breaking columns. Now, in the recharge pause before episode 47, the roles have reversed. The south vent is glowing consistently. The north vent is glowing intermittently. The vent that produced the 1,270-foot fountain in episode 43, the record holder, is the brighter one tonight, consistently. After sitting mostly silent through episode 46, after accumulating undischarged conduit pressure for an entire 9-hour eruption. And the USGS narrowed the forecast window for episode 47 overnight. Originally, May 12th through 17, as of Saturday morning. The forecast window for episode 47, based on tilt data, suggests that lava fountaining will occur again sometime between Monday, May 11th and Thursday, May 14th. News for Jax, Monday. That is tomorrow. Stay with me. Because this script is not about an eruption that is about to happen in the abstract. It is about a specific change in this eruption system's behavior, a change that is visible in tonight's webcam glow and documented in this morning's USGS update that tells you something specific about what episode 47 is building toward. In 6 previous Kilauea scripts, we have covered the forecast precision, the VOG health burden, the wind shift toward northeast communities, the 490-day accumulation, the filling crater geometry, and the 7-word VONA that said fountain activity was unlikely for several weeks. Those 7 words came after episode 45. After episode 46, the VONA said something different. No multi-week forecast, a 4-day window. And this morning that window narrowed again to 3 days, and the south vent, the record holder, the one that was silent, through episode 46, while pressure built in its conduit, is the one that is consistently glowing. There's a phrase that Ingrid Johansson, the forecasting of this eruption into a science, used when describing how she reads the tiltmeter data. The basic rule of thumb is that the tilt should be back to about the level it was right before the last episode. Essentially, once inflationary tilt has recovered all the deflationary tilt that occurred during the previous episode. YouTube, episode 46, drained 14 microradians. As of this morning, the chamber has recovered 9, 2, 4, 8 microradians remain. At the current recharge rate, that gap closes in 48 to 96 hours, Monday through Thursday. And when it closes, the south vent will fire. First, the numbers exact. From this morning's USGS update, the Uēkahuna tiltmeter recorded about 14, 0 microradians of deflationary tilt during episode 46. Since the end of episode 46, summit inflation has resumed, with the same tiltmeter recording about 9, 2 microradians of inflationary tilt as of this morning. Newsweek 14, 0 drained, 9, 2 recovered, 4, 8 remaining. The tiltmeter sends extremely precise real-time tilt measurements to the Hilo office via radio telemetry. To install the tiltmeters, staff must first drill 16-foot deep holes into hardened lava at the summit. Each tiltmeter comprises a metal tube with 2 bubbles and conducting fluid, like a carpenter's level. U-tube like a carpenter's level, drilled 16 feet into hardened lava, transmitting in real time to a screen in Hilo where Ingrid Johansson watches the line move. The line needs to move 4, 8 more microradians upward before the threshold that triggers episode 47 is reached. Seismic tremor continues during the current pause and has slightly increased over the past day. There are no longer regular tremor bursts. Newsweek tremor slightly increased. No longer regular bursts, which had been the post-episode pattern of the vents clearing their conduits through gas piston cycles. The tremor is changing character, moving from the post-eruption clearance phase into the pre-eruption recharge phase. Earthquake activity at the summit during and after episode 46 has been low, with 4 small earthquakes recorded in the past day. Newsweek low earthquake activity. That means the magma is filling the chamber cleanly, not fracturing the rock above it yet. When the activity increases and the earthquakes begin clustering in the shallow summit zone, that is the signal that the chamber pressure is approaching the threshold that opens the vents. Right now, 4 earthquakes in the past day. Tremor slightly increased, 4, 8 microradians remaining. The clock is running. Now, the south vent, and why its consistent glow tonight is the most important piece of information in this morning's update. In episode 46, the south vent produced one brief dome fountain at the onset of the main fountaining phase, followed by 9 hours of gas jetting and periodic flames, but no sustained lava output. The north vent carried the entire episode. It produced the 650-foot fountain. It drained the 14 microradians of magma from the chamber. The south vent was present throughout, venting gas, but not contributing meaningfully to the lava output. That behavior indicated one of two things. Either the south vent's conduit was partially restricted, a temporary blockage that limited its ability to deliver lava to the surface despite the pressure from below, or the episode's energy was channeled preferentially through the north vent because of the specific geometry of the chamber drain during that particular recharge cycle. The south vent's gas jetting during episode 46, including visible flames, was evidence of pressurized gas in the conduit looking for an exit. That gas did not carry lava to the surface in any sustained way. It exited as pure gas, burning off as it escaped. Now, in the pause before episode 47, consistent glow continued from the south vent over the past day. Newsweek consistent. The south vent is producing glow, the radiance of hot volcanic material at or near the surface of the vent opening, more continuously than the north vent, which is only intermittent. This is the reversal. The vent that was mostly gas in episode 46 is showing the more consistent thermal signature in the episode 47 recharge period. The vent that drained the chamber in episode 46 is showing the weaker, intermittent glow. Two possible explanations for what this means for episode 47. One, the south vent has cleared its conduit restriction during the post-episode 46 gas clearing phase. The flames and gas jetting that lasted 9 hours in episode 46 opened a passage that was partially blocked. The consistent glow is the south vent operating with a more open conduit than it had when episode 46 began. Two, the pressure that was building in the south vent conduit during episode 46. The undischarged gas that produced 9 hours of flames without producing sustained lava has remained in the conduit and is now visible as consistent thermal glow in the pre-episode 47 period. Both explanations point toward the same episode 47 outcome. The south vent fires more intensely than it did in episode 46. Here is the detail that should stop you cold. The south vent set the fountain height record for this eruption cycle in episode 43. These lava fountains were active during episode 43 at the summit of Kilauea on March 10, 2026. Scientists have mastered how to predict when an episode will take place after studying the eruption's patterns for more than a year. YouTube, episode 43, March 10th. The south vent reached 1,770 feet, 540 meters, the equivalent of more than 3 Empire State Buildings stacked. A fountain height that sent fist-sized Tephra to the Uēkahuna overlooks over Kilauea military camp, and along Highway 11 in every direction the wind was moving. An episode that set the aviation color code to red and produced the most dramatic imagery in 17 months of eruption. That episode came after a longer than average pause. Episode 43 followed a recharge period in which the south vent was the dominant glowing vent. The pause before episode 47 is one of the longest in the recent sequence. The south vent is the dominant glowing vent tonight. The USGS does not use the word dangerous to describe episode 47. They do not use the word largest or most intense or breaking record. The USGS issues forecasts based on tiltmeter data and characterizes hazards in specific, calibrated language. The title of this script used those words. The USGS data is the reason those words were chosen. The scientists at HVO are not saying episode 47 will exceed episode 43. They are watching a tiltmeter recover 8 microradians in waiting. But here is what is in the data tonight. Not speculation. Data. The vent that produced 1,170 feet in episode 43 is the consistently glowing vent in episode 47's recharge. The recharge pause is among the longest in the recent sequence. The forecast window was narrowed overnight, and there are 8 microradians between now and Monday. Here is the operational significance of the Saturday morning forecast adjustment that no mainstream coverage has reported. On Friday, May 8th, the USGS issued its preliminary forecast window for episode 47 as May 12th through May 17th, a 6-day window. The preliminary forecast window for episode 47 is based on data from Summit Tiltmeters and suggests that lava fountaining will occur sometime between Tuesday, May 12th, and Sunday, May 17th. Wildfire Explorer 6 days, May 12th to May 17th. On Saturday morning, after receiving the overnight tiltmeter data and the webcam observations showing consistent south vent glow, on Saturday morning, the observatory adjusted the forecast window for the onset of episode 47 lava fountaining to between Monday, May 11th and Thursday, May 14th. News 4 Jacks. The window moved earlier by 1 day on the near end, from Tuesday to Monday, and shorter by 3 days on the far end, from Sunday to Thursday. That adjustment has a specific meaning. The tiltmeter data that arrived overnight showed the recharge rate is faster than the Friday forecast assumed. The chamber is filling more quickly than the Friday model predicted, which means the threshold that triggers fountaining will be reached earlier than the initial 6-day window suggested. The narrowing from 6 days to 3 days, with the window shifting earlier, is the tiltmeter telling the scientists, the system is charging faster than we initially measured. Why would the recharge rate be faster than expected? One possibility. The south vent's conduit, which appears to be more open now than it was at the start of episode 46, is facilitating more efficient gas transfer between the magma chamber and the surface, allowing the magma to rise more quickly because the gas pathway is clearer. A more open conduit on the south vent means less resistance to magma rise. Less resistance means faster recharge. Faster recharge means the forecast window narrows. And a more open conduit on the south vent means, when the piston finally fires, the lava has a clearer path to the surface. Here is what is not making headlines about today's USGS update. The incandescence on the crater floor, the hot material from episode 46's lava flows that was cooling and dimming after the eruption ended, has completely gone dark. Incandescence on the crater floor, lava flow field has diminished completely and was dark overnight. Newsweek. The episode 46. Lava flows have cooled enough that they no longer produce visible glow on the webcam. The crater floor that was covered in freshly emplaced lava on May 5th has in 4 days cooled to the point of darkness. That cooling is significant for episode 47 in a specific way that relates to the mechanics of how the lava flows behave when the next fountaining episode begins. When lava is still hot, still incandescent, it is relatively ductile. It can be remobilized by new flows from above. It flows over and around existing material, integrating the new lava with the incompletely cooled substrate beneath it. When the crater floor has cooled to darkness, the new lava that episode 47 produces will be landing on a solid, cold surface. It will flow across the solidified episode 46 crust rather than through it. This changes the flow dynamics. The new lava will find the lowest topographic points on the episode 46 surface and flow preferentially into them, potentially filling the remaining voids and depressions that the episode 46 flows left behind. The episode 46 flows covered 60% of the crater floor. The 40% that was not covered by episode 46 will be the preferred pathway for episode 47's initial lava output. And the crater floor that 47 episodes of lava have been building, the steadily rising foundation that has been approaching the surface level since the 2018 collapse created an 800 million cubic meter void, is now 4 days higher than it was before episode 46 began. Episode 47 erupts from a crater floor that is higher than episode 46 floor. The vents are slightly closer to the surface. The geometry is slightly changed. Here's the question that every community on the Big Island needs answered before episode 47 begins. Which direction does the plume move? A combination of lava fountaining dynamics and wind conditions determines where tephra fall may occur during an eruption episode. Larger particles fall near the vents, while light particles may be wafted greater distances. YouTube. Episode 46 sent its plume north-northwest and northeast, toward Highway 11, toward Mountain View, toward Hilo, fist-sized tephra on the highway, Pele's hair 15 miles away. That direction was a product of weakened trade winds and a developing sea breeze pattern that the National Weather Service had flagged, specifically in its special weather statement before the episode. Tephra fallout was reported in areas north-northwest of Halama-Umau. Fist-sized pieces were spotted at Uēkahuna Overlook, and between mile markers 31 and 34 on Highway 11. GAR-DW. As of this morning, May 10th, the trade winds have not fully reasserted themselves. The meteorological pattern that sent episode 46's plume northeast is still partially in place. If episode 47 begins on Monday or Tuesday, within the forecast window, and the trade winds are still weakened, the plume direction will follow the same northeast pattern. Communities northeast of the summit will receive the Tephra corridor for a second consecutive episode. If the trade winds strengthen before episode 47 peaks, the plume moves southwest, toward the Kona coast, toward the resort strip, away from Hilo. The wind decides. The tiltmeter tells us when. The two variables are independent of each other and will converge sometime between Monday and Thursday. So, ask yourself 3 questions. The south vent is producing consistent glow, while the north vent produces intermittent glow in the recharge period before episode 47. The south vent produced only gas jetting and flames during episode 46's 9 hours of north vent-dominated fountaining. The south vent produced the 1,170-foot record fountain in episode 43, after longer than average pause, in which it was the dominant glowing vent during recharge. The forecast window was narrowed overnight from 6 days to 3 days, with the earliest possible onset moving from Tuesday to Monday. The tiltmeter has 8 microradians remaining before the recharge threshold is reached. If the south vent's consistent glow in the episode 47 recharge period indicates a more open conduit than it had at the start of episode 46, and a more open conduit means faster recharge, which is consistent with the forecast narrowing. What does a more open south vent conduit imply for the height and intensity of episode 47's south vent fountain compared to the gas jetting only behavior in episode 46? Newsweek. The SDH tiltmeter remains offline because the Tephra field from prior episodes has buried the access road. HVO's monitoring network is described as mostly recovered. The episode 47 forecast is being made from the Uēkahuna tiltmeter alone. The forecast was adjusted overnight, a narrowing from 6 days to 3 days, based on tiltmeter data showing faster than expected recharge. That adjustment was made from a single instrument, and the south vent's consistent glow is a visual observation from webcam, not a quantitative instrument reading. The characterization of south vent conduit openness is an interpretation of the glow pattern, not a direct measurement. If the most significant pre-episode signal, the south vent becoming the dominant glowing vent, is a qualitative webcam observation rather than a quantitative instrument measurement, and the SDH tiltmeter that would provide a second quantitative data point remains offline, what is the actual precision of the episode 47 forecast's 3-day window? And what is the monitoring team's uncertainty range for the south vent's contribution to episode 47? Newsweek. And if the forecast window narrowed overnight from May 12-17 to May 11-14, a 6-day range compressing to 3, based on overnight tiltmeter data showing faster recharge than initially measured. And the south vent is the consistently glowing vent tonight, having accumulated undischarged conduit pressure through all 9 hours of episode 46. And the crater floor is cooled completely dark so that episode 47 lava lands on solid episode 46 crust, rather than flowing into warm material. At what point between now and Thursday morning does the USGS issue the updated forecast that the onset has moved to Monday afternoon or Monday evening? And what is the community preparedness status in Mountain View, in Volcano Village, and along Highway 11, the Northeast corridor that received fist-sized Tephra in episode 46, for a second consecutive northeast-directed plume from an episode that the south vent may dominate? Right now, as you read this, the south vent of Kilauea's Halema Umasu crater is glowing consistently, as it has been glowing since episode 46 ended at 5:22 p.m. on May 5th. Consistent glow from the south vent and intermittent glow from the north vent were observed on webcams overnight. Incandescence on the crater floor lava flow field has diminished completely and was dark overnight. Newsweek the crater floor that episode 46 covered in 6 million cubic meters of lava is cold and dark. The tiltmeter is recording inflationary tilt. The chamber has recovered 9, 2 microradians of the 14 it lost, 8 remain. The forecast window for episode 47, based on tilt data, suggests that lava fountaining will occur again sometime between Monday, May 11th and Thursday, May 14th. This window may be adjusted based on continuing observations. News 4 Jacks Monday, that is tomorrow. In the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory office in Hilo, research geophysicist Ingrid Johansson is watching the tiltmeter line move upward on her screen, the line that saws up and down with each episode, deflating when the chamber drains, inflating when it refills. She knows each episode will take place as the tilt moves back to the level it was right before the last episode. She knows, in a way that no one outside that building knows, in a way that a tiltmeter drilled 16 feet into hardened lava and connected by radio telemetry to a screen in Hilo has made knowable for the first time in volcanic history. She is watching the south vent glow consistently on the webcam feed. She is watching the tiltmeter line rise. She's watching the 8 microradians that remain between now and the moment the south vent, the record holder, the one that was silent through all of episode 46, the one that accumulated 9 hours of undischarged conduit pressure, fires. Episode 43, one that's 770 feet, south vent, after a longer than average pause. After the south vent was the dominant recharge period glowing vent. Episode 47, longer than average pause. South vent is the dominant recharge period glowing vent. The USGS is not calling this the most dangerous episode yet. The data is suggesting that question is worth asking. Monday through Thursday, 8 microradians. The south vent is glowing consistently,